the AI voice and AI agent conversation is a very high level situation. There's some things that you said that I disagree with. I don't think that they're conscious. Okay, right? I don't think that they have autonomous abilities themselves more than any other programmatic coding language out there. And while there are some things that come into question of, oh, we just set up the algorithms and we don't know how they work, there's a lot of good TED Talks and a lot of good in-depth discussions about the potential of this technology that then even cross the lines of religious beliefs and other things.
Right.
So, and that is from CEOs of tech companies. So when we say that, again, just so that this is recorded, I want to make sure that people know that business is done from people to people, right? Services are provided, products are created, needs are in the hands of people. Robots need not much.
Right. Could you introduce yourself, Dan, first, and maybe discuss what's your relationship with AI agents? Like, what have been your typical use cases, and what are the products that you've used so far?
I would find that AI agents, on the inbound standpoint, they can be great for routing. It can work a little bit more effective than IVR sometimes, although sometimes, especially for a person like me, when I go through that experience, I want to get to the point, right? And sometimes I just want to get to a human and I don't want to go back and forth, just the same way I don't like going back and forth with Chat GPT, trying to get it to understand what I'm saying or the context or nature of my tonality or, you know, AI doesn't read the room very well. So that's one problem that I see that could create a decline in sentiment of customer service with corporations that employ AI bots solely at the top, at the front line, and use that as a way, much like companies like Comcast and Xfinity and those kind of companies have to reduce their human responsibility on interactions. But the problem is at scale, it just pisses people off at scale, right? So if we're using AI to make work more efficient, then we should be spending more time on the human interactions and connections if AI is handling the work. That's my opinion on that. Now, with that being said, I think the AI bots for outbound, although that, cold calling has been quickly snipped in the butt with legislation that moves quicker than anything for consumer benefit, quite honestly. And obviously, there's certain consumer benefits with it. But what I know is that AI is most useful for small businesses looking to compete with large corporations that have huge budgets, huge resources, and it can allocate loss
Hmm.
at the sake of winning. A great example of that is how DoorDash bullied their way into the business to take 2/3 of a market that they lost hundreds of millions of dollars for. That's business nepotism, right? Me personally, I'm a consultant. I have a marketing and technology consulting firm. I help small businesses. I am against corporate nepotism. I'm all about the hardworking man and putting tools in the hand of the person so that they can do a better job to continue to do what it is that they love and what their purpose is, rather than the corporate mindset, which is we don't care about what we do. We're just going to do things when people need them so that we can get the money to extract the value from them. But there's no buy-in for that, right? So I truly think that AI agents, the legislation, the regulations around it are the biggest disadvantage is people, just like with the data laws, because the big corporations already own all of our data. So with that being said, the outbound aspect of what it can do to help speed to lead and scale outreach for appointment setting or for operations that need to communicate with their customer to kind of keep the ball rolling to provide services or to take onboarding or inquiries or to create a different experience for the same thing that we may have normally sent somebody to a form to complete. I think that it can be very useful in that
Right.
because now we're not taking an experience that somebody has an expectation of and lowering it. We're actually taking the expectations of a certain experience and now we're raising the bar. Whereas AI voice also doesn't need to be specific from any platform or anything. These are supposed to be things that agents are supposed to be ways for people to deal with, but they should also be um, accelerating the handoff and freeing up the time for that human help when people need it.
Whenever you used AI agents in the past, and the teams that you've been part of which have used AI agents, how has that changed the nature of work that you've been doing traditionally? And uh, after you started using AI agents, were there any new focus areas for you guys?
Um, I I've toyed around in every aspect from it, from audio, visual, image creation. I mean, I've been using AI since before they called it. In third grade, I almost got expelled from school for interacting with a large language model that fit on a floppy disk that they put in my computer that I taught to cuss. They now removed that program from the school, and it didn't exist to anybody. And people think I'm crazy when I tell them I was training AI in third grade, but I did. So, let's pull the veil off, right? I understand it's your guys' financial benefit to pretend like these things are magic, but it's just computer. It's just science, right? Obviously, it's more processing power with things. Obviously, the set of information, the data sets are much larger, but it's the same thing. It's about how do you hold a conversation. And honestly, people are easier to program than robots are when it comes to it. If you guys are familiar with the Wolf of Wall Street or likes of Jordan Belfort, then you know that it's a straight line process when it comes to sales. So it's going to be the same process every single time. The difference is the human interaction. That is the true difference. So yes, AI bots can help get the beginner questions out the way, get the tire kickers out the way, and then allow your sales team to activate opportunities in a much more efficient way, um, and get some information to lead them into how to direct the sale. I think that's where the benefit is. I think the benefit is in recording conversations and doing conversational analysis, as well as coaching that can be trained. Just Call tried to have me come on for a pilot for a completely different service offering where they were going to use human agents to do this kind of coaching, to help with onboarding and things, which obviously I'm sure they shut that down if they turned it into AI, because, why would they need those people still? But I think that there are some benefits in taking information and simplifying it. But when it comes to human-to-human interaction, I think there's still a lot of gaps. And honestly, I don't want to live in a world where I don't know the difference. Um, because where's sincerity at that point? I don't want to be manipulated, right? I'm not trying to be pimped by technology in order to be extracted of my value and goods for thinking that I had a human interaction or for thinking that I had trust or somebody built authority with me. And while we know authority and trust can be false as well and can be bought and paid for, I do think, again, for the niche that I serve, which is local businesses, entrepreneurs, hustlers, and dreamers, that it has to be used in a responsible way, and it has to be used in a way that actually creates a better experience for the customer and not just better bottom lines for the corporations.
In your experience, since you work with small businesses and startups and local entrepreneurs with small teams, how enthusiastic are they about AI agents and the use cases?
Yeah, small businesses, small teams, everybody knows, man. The hats are off, man. I don't know why everybody pretends. The world is not built for us, right? It's not in our favor. Small businesses know that when new technology comes out, it becomes a new challenge. Even if it helps them do something easier, we know that the behemoths in the industry had it first, and they'll be able to implement it more, and they have more resources to saturate the market. What happens with that is large corporations create a bad experience for the same normal processes that businesses built themselves off of, right? I'm talking about door knocking and picking up the phone and cold calling is the way that every large corporation, I mean, it was door knocking or standing on the corner selling snake oil before there was a phone. But this is how every large corporation ever even got to the point that they're at, right? By leveraging consumer data. Most of them have made most of their money by selling consumer data. But yet regulations and innovations come out to seem like they're trying to help the people, but they end up only helping the people that are the gatekeepers of the things that they have now blocked other people from using, or the difference in playing field and the different level of competition that they have presented by introducing this new technology. So I love the fact that AI can help people be more efficient. I love the fact that it can take care of those things that some people are not equipped to do. But I also despise the fact that it's another technological advancement that is being used for corporations to put themselves at odds or in unfair competition against the people and small businesses. And unfortunately, the world's not fair. And what unfair may just be the ignorance of people. It may be the adoption or the desire of people. But again, consumers run the market. Business doesn't exist without the desires of a living, breathing, bleeding person, right? So if we don't consider those things and we push everybody down the line of this is the way we want to do it because it's more efficient, then what we end up with is a world that is less human. And this is how we've done with social media. and there is a reversion, and you can look through the marketing statistics, but companies were spending more ad dollars on digital marketing as it became more popular, to the point that then it became more competitive and less cost effective, to them reverting back to their same traditional marketing methods that they have the freedom of in this great free country to exercise, like direct mail. And well, I worked and helped manage teams for companies like ADT, Brinks, Vivint, that still rely heavily on canvassing. And unfortunately, because of their business model, they create partnerships with local businesses, tell them that they can't use that technology and they can't advertise or market in a way that's competitive with them, and tell them that the only way they can go out and generate business is by going and knocking on a door,
Right.
which then creates really sleazeball salespeople and then creates a bad experience
Mhm.
for the consumer, right? But that's all because those big corporations, that we have the technology, we're invested in it, and we don't want our partners to compete against us. So they compete against their own partners that bring them customers. So that's just to put something in retrospect. Um, but Just Call as a technology company, I want to say that I love what they've done. They've had some decisions that I haven't agreed with, and overall, eventually, I ended up working with a technology partner that allowed me to bring my own platform to the forefront, which is focused on sales, as a sales CRM that has a one-to-one phone as well as a 10-line, multi-line dialer, power dialer. So I focus on sales and marketing aspects.
Right.
I brought it in with Twilio connections and things like that. I don't mark up a whole bunch of minutes. I mean, at one point, I was paying $6 per additional phone number from Just Call on top of their subscription fee. And then I was paying ridiculous markup on minutes. I
Mhm.
don't do that.
Right.
Right. So at that point, it was like, okay, these guys are running with the corporate greed. And while they can make improvements, I need to do something that's more scalable for me. And I need to do something that allows me to put on projects and take on clients in a way that makes it affordable, and where I can do my job to help them make their money, instead of paying somebody a ton of money um, for the same thing that we can get
Yeah.
ourselves,
Yeah.
right? And that's the same thing with the AI. All this stuff is, you can build this stuff on Make now, right? I
Mhm.
can go over to what's his face that I've been following since he came out with that Bolt project. I'm pretty sure you guys have heard about it now. Bolt.new. You can write AI to write programs now. So when it comes to slapping together a completely different direction for your business, I just feel like it should be done with more than APIs. Just Call doesn't build out large language models. They're not a machine learning company. Their developers have been slow and subpar in many basic features that any telemarketing or phone system would normally expect. I mean,
Absolutely.
VC dial had things that I had to tell them to put in.
Mhm.
VC dial, right? So when it comes to the phone technology of things, they've got some great stuff there. They
Right.
haven't always made the best decisions, but they have taken heed to their customers a lot of times, that allowed me to get them to put, dynamic scripts that allowed you to bold words, because that's important when you're reading and you're a human. But then also, I've seen a lot of their actions to be corporately driven towards raising their costs and doing the things that obviously businesses do. But for me, I don't do it for business. I do it for life, right? I wouldn't work if I didn't need money to live, and I'm pretty sure neither of you would either.
Yeah. Thanks, Dan.